Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. We basically have an expansion level of class changes coming through, and in today's video, we're going to be covering some of those classes that are listed in the title, because I don't know how many it's going to be at this point, because every section has so many changes. I don't know if we're going to have enough time to get to all of them, but if you want to make sure you're staying up to date with all of them, they will be on this channel, so smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Discipline Priest. The goal of these changes is to reduce the number of cooldowns Discipline has access to and bake some of that power into other abilities. I think fundamentally that's a good idea. Reducing keybind bloat, reducing the effectiveness of cooldowns and modifiers, bringing back simplicity to the game. These are things that people have been criticizing for a while. In addition, we're resolving some pain points in the talent tree and making it easier to quickly get atonements on allies by moving Overloaded with Light into a more central location. Finally, we're retheming Purge of the Wicked into a shadow spell so that Twilight Equilibrium can be more consistently activated. These seem good. New talent, Divine Procession. Smite extends the duration of an active atonement. Really good. I really like when they include set bonuses. That should just be baseline. You know, use the set bonuses to experiment with wild, crazy new stuff. And when it feels really good, put that stuff on at baseline, man. Don't be taking that away. Okay, and we saw some set bonuses coming back for like Demon Hunters, where they got the throw glaives coming in. New talent, Inner Focus, Flash Shield, Penance, Powered Radiance, and Powered Life have a 20% increased chance to critically heal. Oh, that's a lot of power. Purge the Wicked, renamed to Encroaching Shadows, has been updated. Now causes Shadowed Pain to spread instead of overriding Shadowed Pain with a new spell. Interesting. Evangelism now heals all targets affected by atonement for 4,200% spell power split amongst targets healed. Evangelism continues to extend atonement by 6 seconds as visual has been updated. Contrition has been made baseline and now logs as Penance Healing. Penance Healing now triggers Divine Aegis. Divine Powered Shield Absorption increased just baseline 15%. Powered Radiance Healing Radius increased. Dude, how is this priest getting even better, man? Luminous Barrier Healing increased by 20%. Indemnity increases duration of atonement applied by Powered Shield by 4 seconds from 3. Ultimate Penitence now shields the priest for 100% of their health up from 50s. You get even more of a shield. When that gets spell stolen, bro, it's smite damage increased by 25%. Shattered Pain damage increased by 25%. I really want Shattered Pain buff for Holy, so I'm hoping they get to that. But they want Shattered Pain to be an important part of the Atonement healing, a steady stream of healing over time. I think that's really good. I think this is really good. Shattered Pain should definitely do more. I think also for Holy. Pain and Suffering increases damage to Shattered Pain by 15 to 30, up from 7 to 15. Void Summoner now only triggers from Mind Blast and Penance casts. Void Summoner reduces the cooldown of Shadow Fiend by 8 seconds or Mind Bender by 4. It was 4 seconds and 2. Divine Aegis no longer triggers from Periodic Healing or Atonement or causes Powered Shield critical strikes to be stronger. Absorption increased to 30%, up from 5. Divine Aegis now displays on Raid Flames. Ultimate Penitence has swapped positions with Castigation. I don't know how big of a deal that is. I haven't looked at my Disc Priest talent in a long time. I'm almost 2,400 up. I haven't looked at it in a long time. Overloaded with Light is now in a new position directly below Ultimate Penitence in the talent tree. The following talents have been removed: Heaven's Wrath, Rapture, and Train of Thought. So they're just making all your powered shields huge, and they're taking Rapture out of the game. That's a big risk. That is a big risk. New talent for Oracle. Twin Sight. 3 additional pennant bolts are fired at an enemy within 40 yards when healing an ally with penance, or fired at an ally within 40 yards when damaging an enemy with penance. So more penances. Premonition now has 2 charges baseline. Divine Providence has been removed. Was that the one that gives you the reset on it? Because that was really strong if it was. I don't think it is. Void Reaver and Tropic Rift is getting nerfed. You know, they buffed it, and now they're getting nerfed, so I don't know with that. Now with Holy, what's going on with Holy? We're aiming to provide a better experience when using Divine Hymn while pulling back on a number of raid cooldowns available to the specialization. We're also doing some consolidation in the tree by removing Circle of Healing and adding more interactions with Prayer of Healing. Finally, we're looking to provide options for a gameplay style centered around Renew Uptime in addition to existing playstyles. So reducing keybind bloat and extending playstyles. This seems really good. Several talents have changed positions. New talent, Lasting Words. Holy Word Serenity applies 12 seconds of Renew to its target, and Holy Word Sanctify applies 4 seconds of Renew to its target. New talent, Light in the Darkness, increases the healing done by Holy Word Serenity and Holy Word Sanctify by 20 to 40%, increases the radius of Holy Word Sanctify by 15 to 30%. New talent, Dispersing Light, 6% of healing done with Heal, Flash Heal, and Powered Life is replicated to 4 injured allies within 40 yards. New talent, Divinity, your healing is increased by 10% while Apotheosis is active, and when you activate Apotheosis, your next 3 Heal or Prayer of Healing casts are instant and heal for 25% more. Oh my god, this could be crazy. New talent, Eternal Sanctity. Your holy words extend the duration of Apotheosis by 1.5 seconds. New talent, Holy Word Celerity, reduces the cooldown of your holy words by 15 seconds. These are crazy. New talent, Empowered Renew. Renew reduces the cooldown of Sanctify by an additional 6 seconds and heals for 60% more when cast, but will now have a 12-second cooldown. Ooh, I don't know about that. You get purged on it pretty easily. Voice of Harmony has been updated. Powered Life now also reduces the cooldown of Holy Word Serenity, Divine Star, and Halo, and now reduces the cooldown of Holy Word Sanctify. Seraphic Crescendo has been redesigned and moved from PP talent to the Holy Tree, now reducing the cooldown of Divine Hymn by 60 seconds. Choice note against Gales of Song. I'm not sure what Gales of Song is, but taking this away from a baseline PP talent, opening up more PP talent sounds nice. Oh, here it is. Gales of Song has been redesigned. While channeling Divine Hymn, place 2 stacks of Prayer of Many on up to 3 allies within its range every 1 second. Prayerful Litany has been redesigned, now causes the primary target of Prayer of Healing to be healed for 75% more. You're just getting an 80% healing buff. Holy Mending is getting a 30% increase. Prayer of Healing is getting a 40% increase. Prayer of Healing mana cost is getting increased, though, as well by 25%. Prayer of Healing seems like it's going to be more important, especially with the instant proccing. It's getting a longer cast time, though. Prayer of Circle now triggers the Holy Word Sanctify. Cosmic Ripple Healing increase. Lightwell's threshold is now 75%, so you're going to use the charge more frequently. That's super big quality of life improvement. Resonant Words now also affects Powered Life. Lightweaver can now also be consumed by Prayer of Healing in addition to heal. Lightweaver now accumulates up to 4 charges, up from 2. Divine Hymn channel duration is now 5 seconds. It was previously 8. So you get to channel it faster, like the Druids changed to Tranquility. Afterlife no longer grants a resurrection cast during Spirit of Redemption. I mean, you weren't really using that, but Holy Nova now reduces the cooldown of Chastise by 4 seconds, baseline, and no longer interacts with Voice of Harmony. Okay. I don't know how big of a deal that is. Crisis Management now also increases the critical strike chance of Powered Life. That's really good. Trail of Light's healing replication is now 35% up from 25%. Apotheosis now reduces the cooldown of Holy Words, though, only by 200% down from 300%. So all this changes to Apotheosis lasting longer. It's going to be less effective, too. Prismatic Echoes now also increases the healing of Renew by 15 to 30%. Prismatic Echoes increases the healing of Mastery. Echo of Light 5 to 10%. Down from 6 to 12. Resonant Words is now on personal resource display. Love this, incorporating stuff in the baseline UI. Benediction is no longer a choice node with Holy Mending. Lightwell is no longer a choice node with Lightweaver. Divine Word is no longer a choice node with Restitution. Just big talent rework, right? Big talent rework. For Oracle, new talent Twin Sight. An additional 2 stacks of Prayer of Mending is placed on the second ally within 40 yards when casting Prayer of Mending. Oh, so you're going to really need Prayer of Mending, I think, for PvP also. Preemptive Care now increases the duration of Renew by 25% up from 6. Or previously was 6 seconds. Premonition now has 2 charge baseline, but Divine Providence has been removed. And Shadow, you don't got nothing. I can't believe you were forgotten. I mean, there's literally, like, I've scrolled for what feels like hours through all of these patch notes, and I guess Shadow is just, nope, nothing for Shadow. But for Rogue, Blind and Gouge are not going to break immediately. It'll break on a threshold. So again, those crowd control improvements for mostly, I think, PvP situations, but maybe in some PvE. Outlaw Sleight of Hands bonus now also affects Roll to Bones chance to roll 5 combat enhancements. Was only increased chance to roll 2 combat enhancements. Sleight of Hands bonus chance to roll to bones to roll additional combat enhancements reduced. So Outlaw nerfs. Very minor outlaw nerfs, and that's it for Rogue on the baseline changes. There are PvP changes that we'll be covering. For Shaman, Ghostful visuals are being updated to scale with your player model and have been made more transparent due to visual clutter. Lightning Bolt has a new visual effect. They're really liking Shaman's visuals. Ancestral Guidance is removed. Again, this is something that I was debating. Is like, you got to remove, like, DPS can't heal as much, and healers, maybe they shouldn't DPS as much, because it's like you're removing the identity of the specs at that point. So this is interesting. It's gonna help out with cooldown blow, but this is a massive blow to Resto Shaman's healing, particularly. We have a couple goals we are trying to address. One is to reduce the overlap between Ascendance and Ancestral Guidance Restoration. They both serve a similar purpose and are often combined together. Second, we'd like to bolster Enhancement and Elemental's off-healing utility from intentional global cooldown usage while pulling back on more passive ways to restore group health. And I think that this is a healthy way of going about the game for DPS being able to heal. But Rest of Shaman, I'm interested to see what they're going to give you as compensation. Elemental, Deeply Rooted Elements is now a small % chance per Maelstrom spent rather than being a flat chance. This change should make it equally valuable to cast a Maelstrom Spender while talented in a Deeply Rooted Elements, so abilities such as Elemental Blast no longer generate less Ascendance activations over time. Primordial Wave is redesigned. It now deals a high amount of damage to all targets affected by your Flame Shock. Primordial Wave is a complicated spell to manage and get optimal use out of. We're adjusting it to be more of a big damage impact upon activating rather than an ability than priming your next lava burst to hit many targets. A little bit of a trade-off there. It's gonna be a nice little kind of instant zap of damage, although it's gonna be harder to play around because you can't just dispel it. You dispel the Primordial Wave and then it wouldn't hit you very hard. But they're also buffing Healing Stream healing by 80% to compensate. I think that right there is the compensation. Now, Enhancement Shamans, you guys got a complete rework in the last patch. What is going on with this? You're getting an SA2. Enhancement Shaman currently have Maelstrom weapon spending abilities that potentially do very high damage. While their melee abilities are not hitting as hard we would like them to be, we're redistributing some of your overall damage to be less weighted towards Maelstrom weapon spenders and more damage towards your melee abilities. And making some buffs like Feral Spirits always grant bonuses to your physical damage abilities regardless of what talent options you have. So Zug Zug Enhance. That's going to be bad in PvP because that means you need to actually be in range of the target to do damage. Primordial Storm. Primordial Wave transforms into a single-use Primordial Storm for 15 seconds after it is cast. Devastate nearby enemies with a Primordial Storm, dealing Flame Strike, Frost Strike, Storm Strike damage, and unleashing a Lightning Bolt or Chain Lightning at 150% effectiveness. Note 100% effectiveness in PvP. Deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets. Consumes all Maelstrom weapon for increased damage. You're a Thunder God. Molten Thunder has been updated. Sundering has a 40% chance to reset its own cooldown, increased by 12% for up to 5 targets. Each consecutive reset reduces these chances by half. Interesting. So making more consistency for resetting your Sunder. Elemental Spirits has been updated. Your Feral Spirits now imbue with Frost, Fire, or Lightning, increasing your damage dealt with that element by 10%, but now only increase your physical damage dealt by 10%. Voltaic Blaze has been updated. Tempest and Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning have a high chance to make your next Flame Shock become Voltaic Blaze. Developers notice this change are aiming to make Voltaic Blaze procs more consistent, allowing them to align better with Enhancement Shaman rotation. Lashing Flames has been updated. Lava Lash and Sundering increase the damage of Flame Shock on its target by 100% for 20 seconds. Primordial Wave has been updated. Deals a high amount of damage to all targets affected by Flame Shock. Same explanation for why it's being changed. Primordial Wave generates 5 Maelstrom weapon stacks. Primordial Wave is now disabled and enabled on the action bar depending on the availability of Flame Shock targets. Storm Strike is now learned at 10. It's no longer a talent. The primary resource system Maelstrom weapon was not very noticeable as a passive in the spellbook. To address this, we're making Storm Strike the introductory ability for choosing the Enhancement Shaman spec and replacing its spot on the talent tree with Maelstrom weapon alongside this update, or allowing Storm Strike to be cast without an offhand weapon for the new player experience. It's good that they're considering that. I feel like with Classic WoW, so many new players are playing it that they might actually try retail too at some point. Storm Strike can now be used with an offhand weapon, dealing only its main hand weapon damage. Maelstrom weapon passive is now the first node of the talent tree. Storm Strike damage is getting 100% buff, but not in PvP. Ice Strike's getting 100% damage. But how are you buffing Enhancement? Isn't it like the best spec in PvE? Am I losing my mind right now? I swear, isn't Enhancement the best spec in Mythic Plus? I get, but you're not going to buff it in PvP? Okay, I don't really understand this, but those numbers are huge. Crash Lightning initial damage increased by 200%. Healing Stream Totem increased by 100%. Molten Assault now spreads Flame Shock to up to 5 nearby enemies. I do think a lot of in PvP Shamans are basically not playing Healing Stream Totem, so I think that's probably needed. Ice Strike now generates 1 Maelstrom weapon also. Swirling Maelstrom no longer causes Ice Strike to generate Maelstrom weapon. Deeply Rooted Elements is now a small chance per Maelstrom weapon stack consumed rather than being a flat chance. So this should no longer make it seem advantageous to always try to cast as many spells as possible. Any amount of Maelstrom weapon stacks consumed grant the same linear chance towards an Ascendance activation. We've been carefully examining the user experience of playing Enhancement Shaman and our messaging to guide the players towards taking the correct actions at any given moment. After the adjustments done in 11.0.5, we're further iterating on our messaging to help players better prioritize their actions. The constant highlighting of Maelstrom weapon spending abilities has become a hindrance in understanding how to play Enhancement Shaman, causing too much information overload that is often inaccurate. Our goal here is to let the fundamental design of the spec speak for itself, similar to our other specializations, and be more deliberate with procs that require immediate actions. Moving into the Undermine, we'll be rolling back most of the highlights on the main resource system and start relying on UI overloads, top, and personal resource display to show the current state of Maelstrom weapon. We do not take these changes lightly and realize there will be an adjustment period. We're excited for you to experience Enhancement Shaman in this new way and look forward to hearing your feedback. So trying to make it less complicated, I guess. Weapon will no longer highlight spenders when they become instacast at 5 stacks. So the action bar is not going to light up as much, but you'll still probably get the sidebars, I assume. Maelstrom weapon will display a UI overlay at the top for when it reaches 10 stacks, overriding the 5 stack display that was at the bottom. Maelstrom weapon will not be highlighting Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, and Elemental Blast at 10 stacks. I don't know how much I feel about that. I kind of like my action bar lighting up, so this is maybe a bit frustrating as well. And I think this is the same thing with the overlay space. So hopefully this is going to go and still be, you're able to engage with it. Maelstrom weapon highlights Tempest when it's at 10 stacks though, and will highlight Primordial Storm when it's at 10 stacks. Maelstrom weapon and Storm Weaver spending abilities will now indicate their tooltip that they consume Maelstrom weapon or Storm Weaver to increase cast speed, as well as damage or healing if talented into. Static accumulation will highlight Maelstrom weapon spenders for short duration when they refund effect triggers. Arc discharge, bro, this is just so much stuff. It's so much stuff that I think you'd have to log on to this to really get any idea. But I do think that their main goal of trying to get more of physical damage abilities, that's what they're going to be trying to hit. And in PvP, that's probably going to be rough. But if they make them hit hard enough, and actually when you connect, you actually slug people, then it could be good. For totemic, searing bolt damage increased by 40%, searing volley damage increased by 40%. Oversurge now increases surging totem damage during ascents by 50%, although it's down from 150. Sundering from Lava Lash reactivity procs now triggers Earth Surge at 50% effectiveness. Earth Surge now causes a tremor at the target area at 100% effectiveness, down from 200. An issue causing reactivity Sundering not to trigger Wind for your weapon has been resolved. Hard to say what that's going to do. I think this is probably like more consistent damage from Totemic and kind of less burst, but a bit hard for me to just assess that right there without actually using it. Arc Discharge now stacks up to 2 times, up from 1. For Resto Shaman, what are they going to be compensating you with? Because it's a big deal that they're removing Ancestral Guidance. Our updates to Resto Shaman focus on simplification, condensing keybind space, and adding support to Riptide. Good. New talent, Mana Tide. Healing Tide Totem now additionally grants mana regeneration. There you go. Easily. Just snap one keybind out of the game just like that, although it means that totem's even more valuable to take out. New talent, Therazine's Resilience, Earth Shield, and Water Shield no longer lose charges and are at 115% effective. They no longer lose charges. Why would you want them to not lose charges? I guess you just get the healing all the time. But then what if it's spell stolen? They just have an infinite Earth Shield? That's a bit of a weird one. Healing Wave is baseline at level 11. Wave Speaker's Blessings now additionally increase periodic healing of Riptide by 10 to 20%. Spirit Walker's Tidal Totem now triggers after casting Healing Tide Totem. Downpour now overrides Healing Rain for 8 seconds with 6. We're leaving some room for this to expire before the cooldown of Healing Rain or Surging Totem become available to avoid having to cancel the buff or wait for it to expire when Downpour is not necessary to cast. The starter build's been updated. Several talents have moved location. Ancestral Vigor is a 2-point talent. The following talents have been removed. Healing Rain is baseline, Mana Tide. Totemic, Downpour now overrides Surging Totem for 22 seconds over 12. Honestly, not as much as I was expecting for it, considering how they kind of led into it. I think it's a good starting point. But I'm really thinking they're going to have to do more as far as like keybind bloat for Resto Shaman. Warlock, drain life damage is getting increased by 100%. That's a very interesting thing to read first off on Warlock. For Affliction, Soul Rot provides Affliction with a burst damage window that focuses on casting Malefic Rapture in quick succession. While the drain life functionality of Soul Rot is unique and has some niche usage, it goes largely unused and can be confusing to new players as to what they should be doing while Soul Rot is active. To address this, we're updating Soul Rot to heal its caster for a percentage of the damage dealt. This retains some of Soul Rot's identity as an Affliction spell while providing a benefit that doesn't clash with throughput. Soul Rot's being redesigned. Devour the life force from your current target and up to 4 additional allies or enemies, causing your primary target to suffer shadow damage and secondary targets to suffer shadow damage every 8 seconds. Damage dealt by Soul Rot also will heal you, so you're getting a little bit more survivability. I like that it's active survivability, and it can be played around, it can be dispelled. I think that's a lot healthier for the game than the previous versions that were just all passive. Demonology. In the Undermine, the duration of Doom is now reduced for each Soul Shard spent on Hannah Gul'dan. Our goal with this change is to provide more control over when Doom explodes, since its application is dependent on randomly receiving Demonic Core. In addition, Doom Eternal wasn't attractive enough to warrant a talent point, but still felt missed as it made Doom feel incomplete since its duration reduction wasn't maximized. Considering this, we've redesigned Doom Eternal to increase the uptime of Doom and provide a slight nudge to the Demonic Core economy. Doom has been updated. Consuming Demonic Core no longer reduces the duration of Doom. The duration of Doom is now reduced by 1 second per Soul Shard spent on Hannah Gul'dan. And Doom Eternal has been redesigned. When Doom expires, you have a 30% chance to generate Demonic Core. Demonic Calling now has a 20% chance to make your Call Dreadstalkers cost 2 fewer Soul Shards and have no cast time. Previously, it was 10%. So giving you a little bit more instant damage and more control of when your Doom explodes. For Destruction Warlock, the War Within introduced a lot of new spells to the Destruction's kit, increasing its complexity considerably compared to prior versions of Spec. In Undermined, we are adding passive versions of Dimensional Rift and Channel Demon Fire, as well as adding the ability to change Rain of Fire's targeting to an enemy target rather than a reticule. These changes are aimed at providing more options for players to customize their gameplay to fit their preferred level of complexity when it comes to playing Destruction. So I like that they do make like beginner build options basically, where you get a passive version of a spell versus an active. But then it comes the whole debate of like, should the active do more damage than the passive? And if the active does more, then the new player is just going to be playing an inferior build. But maybe that's the trade-off. You start off with training wheels, and you're not going to move as fast on your bike, but you eventually get used to the bike. You take the training wheels off, and now you can ride the bike fully. So I don't mind like training wheel talents to help bring players in. It'd be nice if they like highlighted those to players who are new as like, hey, we recommend these talents if you're new, to start things out. New talent, Demon Fire Infusion. Periodic damage from Immolate Wither has a 4% chance to fire a Demon Fire bolt at the target at 100% effectiveness. Incinerate has that's gonna be really just good. I think it's just I was talking about training wheels. I think it's just going to be good. Incinerate has a 25% chance to fire a demon fire bolt at 100% effectiveness. That's just going to be good. Dimension Ripper has been redesigned. Periodic damage dealt by Immolate or Wither has a 5% chance to tear open a rift. It's now a choice node against Dimensional Rift. Havoc is now 15 seconds. It lasts longer. Mayhem now has a 35% chance to activate up from 25. Decimation will now highlight Soulfire while active. Diabolic Embers have moved to row 10. Rain of Fire is now a choice node that can be used to change the targeting from reticule to your current target. So just, it seems like they're kind of trying to get, I feel like because, spells have circles in the ground, you can't do that on a console. I feel like they're trying to get WoW on Xbox. I swear they're trying to get WoW on Xbox. But we got Warriors here finally for this update, and then we'll have the PvP update in the next video. Developers notes. We feel that Warriors are in a good place overall. However, there are a few places we'd like to make improvements to each spec and the class as a whole. Warrior survivability in particular has been a weak point, and endurance training competing against powerful throughput nodes in the bottom of the Warrior tree makes it difficult to talent into. We're combining endurance training and reinforced plates to put the choice in the second tier, which has more choice against other utility and survival nodes and thus be easier to spend points on. The weapon specialization nodes have been increased to 2 points to keep the tree structure and overall talent build costs similar. The notes have been rearranged slightly to make the choice about how to access avatar more distinct for each spec. Okay, so they're trying to make you more tanky, but they're doing it by talent rearrangement. So I don't know if that's going to work out for them, but Reinforced Plates is now 2 talent points, grants 5% stamina and 5% armor. Overwhelmed Rage is now 1 point talent, increases maximum rage by 30. Two-hand weapon specialization is now 2 point talent, it grants 3% damage and 2% reduction from area of effect attacks while wielding two-handed weapons. Dual wield specialization Fury is now 2 point talent that grants 3% damage and 2% movement speed while dual wielding. And one-handed weapon specialization for Prot is a 2 point talent that grants 3% damage and 2% leech per point. Thunderous Words increases your bleed damage. Oh, they're nerfing Thunderous. Okay, Cruelty Strikes, Wild Strikes, and Weapon Specialization nodes have changed positions in the tree, and Endurance Range is completely removed because it's been baked into those other ones. For Arms Warrior should always feel good without using Mortal Strike when it's available, so removing damage from the Overpower buff into Mortal Strike and Cleave baseline to open up more rotational and build options. Mortal Strike damage, 15% damage increase. Cleave damage, 15% damage increase. Martial Prowess, Overpower now increases damage next Mortal Strike or Cleave by 15 per stack, up to 2, was previously 30, so just the baseline is hitting harder, but this talent's weaker. Bloodborne increases bleed effect damage by 5 to 10, down from 7.5, so the bleed builds are getting nerfed, though. Blood Surge now causes damage from deep wounds to have a chance to generate 3 rage. Colossal Might is no longer applied by Execute. Using your hard-hitting rotational ability regularly is core to the Colossus playstyle, and Execute applying Colossus Might push Colossus away from that during Execute phases. They just want you to spam Mortal Strike instead? That seems like a little bit of like you're trying to afford. I liked using Execute to get stacks, so I don't know. But I didn't PvE. I feel like this is probably more of an issue in PvE. An issue causing Demolisher's animation not to correctly play sometimes is now fixed. Slayer Cleave will only trigger Reap the Storms if 3 or more targets are hit. Ooh, that's going to be a nerf. Imminent Demise and Death Drive now correctly require the sudden death talent to be taken to function. This was an oversight during implementation. Slayers are expected to talent into sudden death. Okay, so Slayer could get pretty significantly weaker after that. Fury is overall in a place where we're happy, and we're taking this opportunity to redesign some talents to keep their effects unique and powerful. Titan's Torment has been redesigned while Avatar is active. Rampage's rage cost is reduced by 20, and Bloodthirst cooldown is reduced by 1.5. We want to provide a new option for Avatar to impact Fury's rotation and let you make the best of your Avatar duration with more Rampages and Bloodthirst. This change will also allow us to maintain Odin's Fury as a powerful and signature Fury ability independent of Avatar. Reckless Abandon has been redesigned. Activating Recklessness generates 50 Rage, and while Recklessness is active, Raging Blow and Bloodthirst are replaced by Crushing Blow and Bloodbath. Crushing Blow, a powerful dual-wield weapon that deals 10% increased critical strike damage. Bloodbath, a powerful attack that applies a bleed to the target, is extended its full duration when reapplied. Reckless Abandon has been having an outsized impact on rotation. We'd like to bring the focus of the talent back to Recklessness, as well as make Crushing Blow and Bloodbath abilities with unique additional effects. Seems like they're kind of just arbitrarily trying to put more value into spells that you weren't before, maybe to just make it feel fresh. Not really a big deal, I don't think, for Fury. Imminent Demise and Death Drive now quickly require the sudden death talent, so just making sure that you're getting that for Fury as well. For Prot Warriors are currently constantly flooded with rage, which undermines rotational defensive decision making and encourages constant dumping of rage into ignore pain to maximize effectiveness. We're taking a pass at reducing Prot's overall rage generation to make decisions on when and how to spend it more meaningful without reducing the Prot Warrior's ability to tank effectively. So you're not just spamming. taking away some of the spammy gameplay. Chance to reset the cooldown of Shield Slam from Devastator or Strategist reduced to 20% down from 30. Impenetrable Wall no longer increases rage generated by Shield Slam. Booming Voice causes Demoralizing Roar to generate 20 rage down from 30. Champion's Bulwark no longer increases the rage generated by Shield Charge. Blood Surge now causes damage from deep wounds to have a chance to generate 3 rage. Violent Outburst has been rebuilt to be easier to understand and track progress towards the next outburst. Additional rage generated from Violent Outburst reduced to 50 down from 100. Shield Wall cooldown reduced to 3 down from 3.5. Amount of damage ignored from each use of Ignore Pain increased by 30%, so it's going to be a stronger ability, but you can't use this frequently. Colossus Might is no longer applied by Execute. Same change here for Warriors. So that covers the baseline class changes. We got PvP changes and set bonus changes to cover as well in the next one. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys very much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.